You're born into a world where soccer isn't just a sport, it's the sport. A global obsession with over 3.5 billion fans, whether in Europe, Africa, Asia, or in America. People are either watching, talking about, or playing soccer. With over 240 million players worldwide, it's no surprise that soccer is the first sport you see all around you, and the first one you play by yourself. No need for a stadium, a referee, or even a real ball. Just an empty bottle, a crumpled sock, or anything that rolls. When you're young, everything becomes a soccer ball. It wasn't long before your parents noticed you always kicking something. You weren't trying to be destructive. You just couldn't help it. So they bought you your first real soccer ball. It meant everything to you. So much so that you take it everywhere. Playing in the streets with the neighborhood kids, kicking the ball against the wall by yourself. That soccer ball became your best friend. At any opportune time, you'd kick the ball. Eventually, your parents decided it was time to give that energy some direction. So they signed you up for the school team. At first, it's chaotic. Everyone's just chasing the ball like it's candy at a birthday party. However, with time, something becomes clear. You strike the ball better than most. You're a step quicker. Your instincts are sharper. Coaches begin to hone in on your talent and add more skills. And with that, you spend more quality time watching games with your father. And every time someone scores, the commentator yells, "Goal!" You're glued to the screen, and it's always the same guy celebrating. The guy everyone runs towards. You ask your father, "Who's that?" Your father says, "That's our striker, Thierry Henry." In that moment it clicks. You want to be him. You want to score goals. Back at school, you start mimicking his moves, telling your teammates about your latest goal. You even tell your coach, "I want to be Henry." And lucky for you, your coach sees it too. You've got something special, a nose for scoring goals, the closest thing to a striker he's seen. And you're not alone. Turns out, everyone wants to be the striker. One kid wants to be Drogba, another wants to be Eto'o, and another says he's the next Van Nistelrooy. You're all on the same team, all wanting the same position, and just like that, you're thrown into the very first reason why it sucks to be a striker, the competition. Now, there's no position as glamorous as striker. They're always in the headlines, the ones leading photo ops before and after games. Everyone wants to be the guy who scores the goals, the one who gets the cheers and the glory. Yet the harsh truth is, there's only room for one, maybe two strikers starting on the field, and not much more on the squad overall. To even make it as a striker, you need something special. You need the natural flair, an instinct that can't really be taught. You got to read the game like a predator, always a step ahead, knowing where the ball will land before it even gets there. Speed helps, no doubt, but if you're not lightning fast, you better have something else. A killer possessional sense, a sneaky way to lose your marker, or a clinical finish that doesn't miss. Think of players like Didier Drogba, who wasn't the quickest but dominated with strength and timing. Filippo Inzaghi, whose brilliance was pure instinct and positioning rather than raw speed. No matter how good you are, the competition is savage. So many kids give up chasing the striker dream because they just don't have that spark, that it factor. Being good enough just means there's always someone better, someone who's faster, stronger, or just plain luckier. You might find yourself on the bench, watching from the sidelines while others get the spotlight you crave. Luckily for you, you were good enough. One of the 4 striker spots on your class team, even the second choice sometimes. Your parents got to come watch your games, cheering you from the sidelines. There were matches you didn't see much action, but when you did, you made things happen. Every goal, smart run, slick touch reminded everyone you belonged out there. Your parents were proud and started looking for ways to help you grow. They found a local soccer academy dedicated to turning young athletes into someone sharper and stronger. After school and during holidays, you showed up to train, ready to push yourself harder. As drills got tougher and the pace got faster, you improved in every session, learning how to think as a striker, how to anticipate defenders, how to make the right runs, and most importantly, how to finish. Across the region, you played against the best players. Every match was a test, every opponent a new challenge, and you kept getting better. Nothing went unnoticed. The local team scout came by more often, eyes glued to you every time you stepped on the pitch. And then, after a strong performance, he pulled you aside and said, "We want you to come try out for the city youth team." That was what you dreamed of, finally getting your shot at the next level. And because your preparation, you aced the trial. However, the truth soon hit hard. Dozens of other striker hopefuls didn't make the cut. Some were told to switch positions, others just didn't measure up. You barely squeezed through. Reality sank in. The city team was packed with players just as hungry, just as talented as you. The competition wasn't just tough, it was brutal. Defenders and defensive midfielders were bigger, faster, and smarter. Training sessions pushed you to your limits, with every mistake feeling like a missed opportunity. The pressure to perform wasn't just real, it was relentless. Being good enough suddenly wasn't good enough anymore. You learned quickly that the jump from academy star to your city youth team striker is where dreams start to either take flight or crash. Some of your teammates, maybe even your closest friends, were suddenly your biggest rivals. They all wanted that coveted spot. Every touch mattered. Every chance to impress counted. The pressure wasn't just about scoring goals anymore. It was about proving you deserved your place every single day. But when match day finally comes, and you're starting for the very first time on a new team, the pressure doesn't just rise, it explodes. Suddenly, you're not just a name on the team sheet. You're the focal point, the one every defender is watching, the one the coach says could be special. You're the most tightly marked player on the pitch. You're getting elbowed in the ribs, pulled by the shirt, hacked from behind, and the ref? He just waves advantage or says it's not a foul. Meanwhile, the crowd expects magic. You make 10 darting runs behind the back line, but the ball comes once, and your first touch is heavy. The crowd groans in unison like you just crashed a car. 10 minutes later, you get a golden chance and you blaze it into orbit. Now the groans turn to muttering. They're already questioning you and you can hear it so clearly. Every level you climb, the pressure only gets worse. At the top, you're against defenders like Sergio Ramos, who will body you and smile while doing it. Roy Keane would take your legs before letting you turn. Paolo Maldini didn't even need to foul. He erased strikers with perfect timing and soccer IQ. These defenders ended careers and broke spirits. Facing them demands more than just skill. It takes courage. The game at that level is physical, painful, and relentless for you as a striker. But here's the catch. Even if you survive that, even if you're not marked out of the game completely, you still might not get a chance. And if you do, you might miss. That's the striker's life. Worst of all, sometimes it's not even up to you. If your midfielder isn't creating, you're stranded. If your wingers aren't delivering decent crosses, you're invisible. Thierry Henry once said, "You're only as good as the team behind you." And he wasn't wrong. Despite many things out of your control, you are still expected to be perfect. No one cares about your movement. No one breaks down the run you made that dragged two defenders out of position to create space for a team. No one cares that you pressed relentlessly, tracked back, or held up play to link the attack. All they see is 0 goals. When that's next to your name, you already know what's coming. You feel it. Every cold stare from the fans as you subbed off, every awkward post-match handshake, even the coaches glance towards the bench after you missed a chance. Feels like a silent judgment. Strikers aren't just judged harshly, they're judged instantly. You could be world class for 89 minutes, but if you miss that one big chance in the 90th, that's your legacy for the day, the week, and maybe your whole season. So being a striker isn't just about scoring goals, it's about being flawless every single game. You can score a hat trick today, and suddenly you're trending. Pundits are singing your praises. Yet blank in the very next game, all the love disappears. You're no longer a hero. You're a tap-in merchant, overrated, or the striker who needs 5 chances to score. That's the brutal reality of wearing the number 9. Your worth lives and dies by your last performance. Overall, your confidence is your real currency. Once it's shaken, everything else crumbles. You start second-guessing the runs you used to make on instincts. You hesitate in front of the goal during your one-on-ones you normally score without thinking. And if you allow doubt to creep in,
It spirals. Because in soccer, confidence fuels finishing, and finishing fuels confidence. When the cycle breaks, your touch gets heavier, your shots get rushed, and your head drops before the ball even leaves your foot. Suddenly, your whole game falls apart in front of your coaches, fans, pundits, and millions of people watching from around the world. For a striker, once confidence breaks, rebuilding it feels like learning to walk again, with the entire world watching and judging every step. In this ruthless world, you're a product first and a person second. Which brings us back to you, still grinding on the youth team, hungry for that breakthrough because you chose the most competitive position in soccer. The truth is, your chances of making it as a striker are slim to none. And even if you do break through, everything we talked about waits for you. The relentless pressure, the scrutiny, constant need for perfection. This is the harsh reality of the most demanding position in all of sports. Glamorous and glorious on the surface, but carrying an equal share of pain, sacrifice, and unforgiving judgment beneath it all. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a post. Thanks for watching.